Wouldn't it be nice if I could make a video? I really like making videos. I think I just like looking at myself in the mirror. Yes, see, my face is turning red. That's very embarrassing to admit. I think I do. I really love myself. I look at that person in there and I just love her. She's just so nice and she's my friend. She knows everything about me. Everything. There's nothing to hide. And you know what? That's an interesting thought because God knows me as well as she does. Her. Isn't that interesting? God knows me as well as I know me. And He still loves me. Anyway, in spite of everything. He's in a place of love. He's in a spiritual place where He's just so far into love that it just radiates from Him. Can you imagine being in His presence? Being beside someone that loved you so much, with such a pure, pure love, knew you completely through and through? Wouldn't that be amazing? And that's what the scriptures teach us is going on. Hey, look, there's sunshine up there. Look at that. And blue sky. I'm in Jopai Teepee. I've been taking a walk. I have my ensign with me, and I've been reading my scriptures while I sat in front of the iceberg pond. Oh, you know what I did? I walked between the moat road. I had a new name for it. I forget what it is. Oh yes, this whole area down there here is called Nadirland because it's the lowland. Nadirland. And all these buildings that I have created down here make up the neighborhood. So this is the neighborhood of Nadirland. It should have a nice sign that says Nadirland. Anyway, so I was sitting there in front of Iceberg Pond in the swing. But what is really close to that, between, like along the marsh woods where the dam used to be, on that area, when you come closer to Iceberg Pond entrance, there's the mouth of Iceberg Pond at the other end, and you come close to that. And then you go just a bit beyond that, and there are, if you look, there's a tree. I don't know what kind of trees these are, little things, but the tree can't grow out of water, or it would be dead. So if it's alive, then it must not be in water there. See, when they dug the moat out, they took 2 feet of topsoil, beautiful black peat, and they put it on the outside of the ring and kind of smoothed it out. So it's about 15 feet wide, 14 feet wide, along the edge of the road. Anyway, and so if I walk across that 15 feet, most of which is covered by bags of leaves, good thing, so that the grass can't get a terribly great hold there. And it's only like the length of 2 or 3 pallets. What do they call them? Somebody had a different word for them. Skids. Wooden skids or pallets that they stack stuff on at the store. Outdoors, you know, like a skid of fertilizer or a skid of peat soil or potting soil. Peat potting soil. Anyway, so I think that the area between the black and the black soil, which is kind of like a plateau. So it's a plateau all the way around the edge of the moat road, which is actually the Tri-Aqua Trail. And where it meets and goes that way is the teardrop point. I really need to start making some signs. I could be doing that. Anyway, so, hey, look, it's not cold enough. I have to have my hat on. It's negative 16 or something. Anyway, So what I was saying, if I were to collect some pallets, I could put them between that plateau of black soil and the edge of the dish, which surrounds the upper pond, the iceberg pond, which is at the base of the hill. And then I could have a pathway. Now, I could also use some long boards, like slab. You know, when they make a log square, they've then got these flat on one side, curved on the other side. 4 of them with bark on one side and flat on the other. Whatever size it would and shape it would turn out when you got a square. Now that's not a cube. It's a rectangular, 3-dimensional rectangle. Is there a word for that? Anyway, it's not a cube, not a cylinder, not a cone. A building, a Chinese mountain. Anyway, so they take that out, and then you're left these 4 long pieces of slab, so you can use them. You could use pallets under them, but you could just use them to make a bridge. Put 2 or 3 of them beside each other, and you've got a bridge. If you can support them all at the same level, if they can be the same height. That's Gunther, Mary Jane's dog. He's out there walking. It's so hard to walk today because you break through the ice. There's a top crust that's probably 1/2 inch or 1/4 inch. Anyway, it's good enough to support you, but then it breaks. And you fall anywhere from 2 inches to, you know, if you're off the path, if you're out there in the grass, you know, where some people like to go play. Okay, so I discovered that, and that gave me a new way to access that. And then when we were walking the other day, we passed a place which I call the second waterfall, because there's a second stream that comes down the hillside, and it left a ravine, or it's in a ravine. And from sitting where I was sitting near the mouth of the pond, on account of having walked across that 2 pallet length of dry area, it's very wet everywhere. It's very wet here. There's a lot of cattails growing in amongst the grass, so you can't depend on anything. But now it's frozen. But anyway, so as I sat there, I looked around the corner of the hillside, around the slope of the hillside, and there was another ravine there. And I wondered if that's the second waterfall. Because when we were walking up above, we were walking through, following deer trails. Following drill trails is amazing because the hills, it's very rarely flat like this on those hills. It's either like this, or like this, or like that, or like that, or like that. You just are always on a hillside. Sometimes you're between them and going around. There's a lot of hills, lots and lots, and knolls on the hills. And they've got little saplings all over them, and it's kind of like climbing in the mountains. They're very steep hills. It's an esker. So, anyway, before my camera decides it's too cold to be alive and dies. So, I was looking at that second stream, or second potential waterfall. And there is a second stream as you walk the hilltops. The first one becomes our stream, our waterfall into Iceberg Pond. But you keep going. You walk back through those mountains some more, those steep hills. And then there's another one. They're kind of rounded up there when you're on the top. It's kind of the ridge. Well, it's an esker. You know, look up esker. It's a glacier formation underneath It's a lot of silts and sand. This place is like zoned aggregate. It's like, I don't know how deep the sand goes. But there's lots of gravel pits in the area with very deep ponds. Anyway, so on top of the gravel, the sand seems to be on the hills, but in the flatland it's pit run gravel. all kinds of sizes of stones. Not too big, like nothing more than, like nothing a foot wide or something, not maybe 6 inches wide, but not even much of that. I'd say 4 inches is about as big as the stones are in that. So in order to dig the moat, or in order to make the road, they had to dig a moat. They took off the top 2 feet of the topsoil, which they also took off the top of the to-be road. And then they dug down on the inside of the circle, the ring, and they took out 2 feet of gravel anyway, at least, in order to make and pile it up on the other part. They had to go a lot deeper than that, because if you think of going through the moat, they're making a V as they dig. They don't want the slope of either the road or the island to be too great. So they're not going to be taking like that. So they're going to be going down deep in the center. And then all that comes over here and turns out to not be much. So they have to take a lot. So some places this moat becomes 30 feet wide. Other places it's like 16. I think 16 is the narrowest. And so, anyway, I don't know why I got onto that track, but that's the way it is when I talk, isn't it? Ramble, ramble. Rambling Rose. Fancy Nancy. Used to get called all kinds of stuff. Nancy Pants. Can't remember the rest of them. There are others. Anyway, everybody got nicknamed, didn't they? So it's a beautiful day today. The sun is, oh look, the sun is, see, it's through the teepee wall, but it's pretty good, eh? Now you could see it, you're right in the sun. So I have to go back up to the house. My family, my friend Mary Jane and her husband are here for 10 days. So I don't want to just abandon them. Is that you again? Gunther? Are you back? Yesterday the raccoons came out and somebody saw a skunk. That means it was above freezing yesterday, and it was. But now it's back below, so all is well. All is right with the winter. I don't want to have spring thaw in the middle of the winter. Spring thaw is kind of sloppy. We're going to get it in April anyway, so we might as well just wait and get it then. Don't you think? In the meantime, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. Doesn't have time for stopping. Okay, I'm going to say goodbye. Goodbye. See, I said it. You could say it too. See you later. Bye. You saw it here last. Any ideas that you got from this video are yours to use.